Okay, so here's one of the projects that I'm working on for this cake for my best friends. And since we know that it's a beach theme, I wanted to make it a little bit special. I actually DIY'd my own cake board. If you want to check out more about it, check out the tip of the week on my YouTube. And what I'm gonna do with it is that I'm gonna cover it with yarn and make the board a little bit more of a beachy theme to it. And you'll see the final product of this cake, and hopefully it will come out the way that I want to. All right, so it's complete. It took me a couple of minutes. I thought it was gonna take me longer actually, but it looks pretty good. So this is going to be the base of my cake. My cake is gonna sit on top, and then along the edges, I'm gonna put kind of like graham crackers for it to look like fake sands. So here we go. I'm gonna complete this cake. I'm gonna start assembling. So now that I have my cake board ready, it's time to start assembling and decorating my cake. I made a vanilla cake, and I'm gonna put some blueberry and lemon filling in it. It's a little bit different, but I thought it goes well with the theme. It's a little bit more summery, and I'm sure everybody's gonna love it. So let me get started and let me show how you start assembling and decorating this cake. So here's everything that I'm gonna be using. I got my cake board, I got 3 layers of vanilla cake, I have my blueberry and lemon filling, I have my frosting that's white, it's a buttercream, and I have blue, 2 shades of blue, a darker and a lighter blue. First, right here, to place my first cake so it won't shift. Then you want to do a border. Now for the filling, you can make your own with fresh blueberries and lemon, or you can buy canned and buy some lemon and grate lemon zest in it. That's about it. It's really simple to make your own, just blueberries and sugar, and you just let it go. And you can put a little bit of pectin to make it hold up together. And that's my first layer. Now, my second layer right on top. Now for the top layer, we'll want to reverse it. So this is the 3 layers. So I'm gonna give this cake an ombre effect. So I'm gonna start with the darker blue and then lighter, and then the top is going to be white. So that's pretty much what I'm gonna be doing. So I'm just gonna take a couple of layers and do this. And to kind of break up my cake, I'm gonna use the lines right here of the different layers. So I'm gonna try to do the dark blue along this line level, and then the lighter blue along this line, and then the top all white. And I want to be very generous with the top so that you don't get any crumbs. What you want to do is start like spreading it so it can fall a little bit. Okay, so here we go. This is a very forgiving cake, so you don't have to be super perfect on the top because it needs to look like it's water because that's what kind of I'm going for. It doesn't have to be perfect. If you wanted it super smooth, then what you can do is get a little bit of hot water and just make sure that you keep your spatula nice and warm, and then you can smooth out any of those bubbles or air pockets. Since it's a little bit warm in my house, I don't really have to do that because everything is staying warm. But I actually don't want it to be super smooth and perfect because I want it to have those little air bubbles, just kind of mimicking the waves. So that's the first step. Now on to the next couple layers. So like I said, I'm gonna start with the blue and then work my way up from darker to lighter. Okay, so now I have my white top all covered. Now I'm gonna work my way from the bottom to the top. I'm gonna start with the darker blue. And like I said, I'm gonna do it up to here, and then next, the lighter blue. As you can see, I finished with the darker blue all around. I'm not doing anything to the cake yet. Now I'm gonna be doing the light blue, just right on top of that. If there's any white from the frosting coming out from the inside, it's okay. Again, this cake is very forgiving. So my 3 layers of my 3 different colors are on, and I added a little bit more white on the outside rim. Now I'm gonna use my spatula. You can also use one of those cake scrapers. I happen to not know where mine is, so I'm just gonna use this and hope for the best. So all you're gonna do is that you're going to take your spatula and go along. Your spatula kind of stays where it is. You just have to move the turntable and everything will start smoothing out. So let's attempt this. And just keep the same pressure. Okay, something very important is that you need to clean it if you're gonna do more than one swipe. So I'm gonna go on the other side. I do the reverse. It's coming along. It's almost getting there. And that's it. This is pretty much the cake. I'm gonna clean up the sides. And any little imperfection, you can clean it up. It's a very forgiving decoration. So I'm so happy with the way that it turned out. Now I'm gonna put the embellishments, put something little special on top. For the next step of this cake, I'm gonna add some crushed graham crackers to the border so it can look like the bottom of the ocean with the sand. So first, with my extra frosting, I'm just gonna like lightly frost it so it can create like a little bit of a glue and also mimic the ocean since it's all the colors mixed in together. Very lightly. No big clumps. The tricky part of this, I foresee, is not to get any crumbs to fly into the cake itself. But we are going to attempt. So I went along the border. So now this is the crushed. Let's see if I can do this without getting any on the cake. Oh, not bad. Have not gotten any crumbs yet onto the cake. And that's it. I think I crushed way too many. I thought it would take more. So there it is. Wow. It's looking like the ocean. I am loving it. And it's so simple. It really is. It didn't take a long time. I've made so many more elaborate cakes. I think sometimes the simpler, the more elegant something looks. And I'm sure this is going to be perfect for this sea theme baby shower. So now I'm creating these little waves with the mixture of the colors. And there you have it, little perfect waves for this cake. So now, time for some of the decorations. I put the cake in the fridge and I had to take a break because I had to go pick up my kids at school. And now it's nighttime and they're in bed and now I get to finish the cake. So I'm making a whale and I'm just gonna use some fondant. I already colored it in blue. I use the Wilton colors. I did also a little small piece of blue, and that's gonna be for the belly of the whale. So I'm just gonna start shaping it and see where I want it to be. And I'm not an expert sculptor, but I try my best to kind of figure out shapes. You can also make the shape of the whale out of Rice Krispie treats, but I'm just using fondant. You can always use some of the tools. I have these Wilton fondant shaping tools. That's for later on to add detail. You can also always kind of put like a toothpick or a stick to hold up the tail. I might do that a little bit to kind of set it in place. And this will get harder. It just takes a couple of days to get hard. I unfortunately don't have all the days to work on this, so I will have to put a toothpick in there somehow. And I think I got the shape that I like. What do you guys think? And then with the embellishments, it'll definitely look like a whale. Okay, so I have these tiny little popsicle sticks, and that's what I'm gonna use to kind of hold up the tail. So I'm gonna insert it in the bottom on an angle. So now time for the belly of the whale. I just have a little lighter blue. I'm gonna roll it. It's just gonna go and create that little swoop. Okay, for the little blowhole, I'm just going to insert a toothpick in the middle. Okay, there he is. Now we're gonna make the mouth and the eyes. What I'm doing is that I'm taking this little rolly thing and I'm just creasing the fondant to shape, almost like cutting a little bit into the fondant. And now 2 little eyes. And for the eyes, I have these little round circular sprinkles. I'm just going to do this. And the same here. So it's just some little lines. This tool that has this little roller, kind of like a tiny little pizza cutter. And that's pretty much it. Now it's ready to go on top of the cake. Okay, so now I'm going to start putting this little whale on top of my cake. I decided that this part is the best side, so the side facing me is going to be the front side, but I also don't want the whale to kind of sink down into the cake, so I'm just gonna put these plastic straws, which I also use when I'm making different levels. So just inserted 2 in there. Okay, so I'm gonna cover it up a little bit. Can't see this part because the whale is gonna be sitting on top of it. How cute. So now I'm gonna do some more embellishments. I purchased this chocolate mold with the shapes of seashells. I got it at Michael's. It's from Celebrate It. And I made the seashells blue and white. And I'm just going to decorate and embellish the rest of the cake and we'll be complete.